I returned from a trip to find my house sold. You're too young for luxury, my stepfather smirked, flying first class. I let him go while planning the fall he never expected. My name is Ethan. I'm 28 years old and I work as a structural engineer. My job pays well, but it's exhausting. I spend more time on site than at home, traveling between projects. The one thing that kept me sane was my house, my own place, or so I thought, because as of today, my house no longer belongs to me. I knew something was off the second I turned onto my street. I'd just gotten back from a 3-week business trip out of state. I was exhausted, running on 3 hours of airplane sleep, and just wanted to take a shower and crash on my couch. But as I pulled up to my house, I saw something that made my stomach drop. A bright red and white sold sign stuck into my front lawn. I slammed on the brake so hard my tires screeched. My brain refused to process what I was seeing. No, that had to be a mistake. I pulled into the driveway and practically ran to the front door, my work bag still slung over my shoulder. But before I could get inside, I heard his voice. Richard, my stepfather. He was inside my house packing up my things. I stormed through the front door, heart hammering. What's going on? Richard barely looked up from sealing a box with packing tape. Oh, hey kiddo, you're back. Earlier than I thought. Kiddo. He always called me that, like I was still some clueless teenager, and not a grown man who had worked for everything he had. I dropped my bag onto the floor. Why is there a sold sign on my lawn? Richard let out a dramatic sigh like I was the one inconveniencing him. He sold it. My stomach twisted. We? I took a step closer. What do you mean, we? Richard set down the tape and looked at me like I was being slow. Your mother and I, obviously. You don't need a big house like this, Ethan. It's ridiculous for someone your age. You should be renting a small apartment, saving money. He waved a hand. You'll thank me later. I felt my fingers curl into fists. Richard, this is my house. I bought it with my money. You have no right. Hey, kid, you think you did this alone? You think you're some self-made success story? He clapped me on the shoulder like I was a child. It's all family money, shared assets. You don't actually own anything. I recoiled like he'd slapped me. Family money, shared assets. Number, that was a lie. Here's where things get technical. Yes, I paid for the house. Yes, I made every mortgage payment. But the house was originally bought when I was 23, too young to get a good loan on my own. My credit was solid, but the bank still required a co-signer, and my mother volunteered. It's just paperwork, Ethan, she had said at the time, waving away my concerns. It'll still be your house. So I signed the documents, believing my name was on the deed, and it was, at first. What I didn't know was that Richard had refinanced the mortgage behind my back while I was away. My name was quietly removed from the deed months ago. The house was now solely in his name, and legally he had every right to sell it. I felt sick. You? How? My voice caught in my throat. Richard smirked. Oh, don't look so surprised. You signed the paperwork years ago. You should really read the fine print, kiddo. My hands were shaking. Where is Mom? Richard shrugged. Already in Italy. Needed a little break. I gritted my teeth. So, you sold my house, took the money, and left me with what, exactly? Oh, don't be so dramatic, he smirked, patting my cheek like I was a toddler whine. You're young, you'll figure it out. But I had a plan. Richard zipped up a sleek leather suitcase and slung it over his shoulder. Listen, I'd love to stay and chat, but I've got a flight to catch. 5-star hotels, private tours, the works, first class all the way. I just stared at him. He walked past me toward the front door. I'll bring you back a nice souvenir. Yeah. And then he was gone. I stood there, staring at the empty space where my furniture used to be. My home, My entire life had just been stolen from me, and I couldn't do a single thing about it. Or at least, that's what Richard thought. I let him board his flight. I let him sip champagne at 30,000 feet, thinking he'd won. But when he landed back home 2 weeks later, he realized something. He had nowhere to go. So where was I? Oh, right. My house was gone. My stepfather was sipping champagne in first class, and I was standing in the ruins of my old life trying to keep myself from punching a hole in the wall, but I wasn't going to lose my mind. I was going to get even. The first thing I did was call my mother. No answer. I called again, straight to voicemail. By the third call, I was shaking with rage. Not just because she wasn't picking up, but because she already knew. She had known for weeks, maybe even months, and she hadn't warned me. I texted her, "Mom, call me now." 3 dots appeared. She was typing. Then the message popped up. "Mom, I don't want to do this over the phone. We'll talk when I'm back." I stared at the screen, my jaw clenched so hard it hurt. She wanted to wait. After they had sold my house out from under me, I called again. This time, she picked up. "Ethan, I really don't appreciate the tone of your messages." Her voice was calm, detached, like I was the one overreacting. I gripped my phone so tightly my fingers ached. "You don't appreciate my tone?" I repeated, laughing bitterly. "Mom, are you out of your mind? You sold my house." She sighed like I was being difficult. "Ethan, sweetheart, Richard and I talked about this, and we really think this is for the best." I nearly dropped the phone. For the best. For who? For you, she insisted. "Honey, you have to admit a house like that was just too much for you. It's expensive, big, a lot of responsibility. You work so much you barely have time to enjoy it. What's the point of throwing money into a place you don't even use?" "I bought that house. I wanted that responsibility." She scoffed. "Ethan, you're still young. You don't need a massive house at this stage of your life. Richard and I found a much better option for you. A modern little condo right in the city. It's low maintenance, affordable, much more suitable." I was speechless. A condo. You stole my house, and now you're trying to convince me to settle for a condo? She sighed like I was being a child. "Sweetheart, you have to see the bigger picture. Richard really helped you here. He freed you from all that stress. And listen, we didn't just take everything. A portion of the money will go toward helping you get that condo. Richard will handle the details once we're back." My stomach turned. "And the rest?" There was a pause. Then she said, "Well, a little went toward our trip." "But Ethan, come on. It's all family money. We all deserve a little happiness, don't we?" I felt like I was going to be sick. She actually believed this. She actually thought they had done me a favor. Legally, he had every right. I spent the next 2 hours going through my paperwork, desperate to find some way to fight this. There had to be something, some legal loophole, some document that would prove the house was still mine. But when I got to the refinancing papers, my stomach turned to stone because there it was in black and white. Months ago, while I had been working out of state, Richard had refinanced the mortgage in his name only. My name had been removed from the deed, making him the sole owner. He had done it so quietly, so strategically that by the time I even realized what had happened, it was already too late. I read the fine print 3 times, hoping I had missed something. But I hadn't. Legally, he had every right to sell my home. The money was already gone. My next move was to check my bank accounts. I knew I hadn't seen any money from the sale, but I needed to be sure. When I opened the banking app, my hands started to shake because I saw exactly what I feared. A $490,000 deposit from the home sale, followed by multiple withdrawals, hotel bookings, luxury brands, a wire transfer to an international account. I felt like I was going to be sick. The money wasn't just gone. It had already been spent. But I wasn't done yet. I sat in my empty house, staring at my phone, feeling rage build up in my chest. Richard thought he had won, but I wasn't going to let him get away with this. I took a deep breath, steadied my hands, and made 2 phone calls. The first, my lawyer. The second, my Uncle David. See, Richard had forgotten one thing. The only reason he had credit to refinance the house was because of my mother. And I knew something she didn't want him to know. Richard was about to lose everything. Let him enjoy his European tour. Let him sip champagne and think he had gotten away with it. Because when he landed back home, there wouldn't be a single penny left in his name. And he was about to learn exactly what it felt like to have everything taken away from you.